Welcome to Bob's Brewhouse. I'm Bob and we're not in the brewhouse once again. We're in my kitchen because I'm going to show you a simple tutorial to make blueberry melomel. If you haven't watched my previous video on making mead, I suggest you go there and have a look as it explains the basics. This isn't by any means complicated, but for the sake of getting right to it, I'm going to assume that you already have a fermentation bucket cleaned and sterilised and you've stood your water for a few hours to dissipate any chlorine. You'll need all the standard stuff to make mead, that is 2 gallons of water, 5 pounds of honey, although we'll be putting one of those aside, that'll be used to sweeten the finished product, approximately 2 pounds of frozen blueberries. They've been defrosted overnight in the fridge, but any fruit is good, it's just this time around I'm going for the frozen blueberries. That's them there. Like I said, roughly 2 pounds of fruit will do the job for this, 1 pound per gallon of water. And you'll need the good old bread yeast. As usual, you'll need a clean pan and a spoon. They don't have to be sterilised because you're going to be putting boiled water in it. Just physically clean will do. Now I'm going to pour the honey straight into the pan. Don't worry about getting every last little bit of it, just as much as you can, and set the jars aside for now. In the meantime, you want to boil about a pint of water in your kettle. Then carefully pour the boiled water into the jars, just a little in each jar, and the remainder into the pan. Give them all a good stir when it's in there. It can take a while, especially if the honey's cold. Just make sure you get it all completely mixed and homogenized. We'll let that all settle for a moment and get the blueberries into the bucket. You want to make sure to get as much of the contents of the bags as you can, all the juice, every last little bit of fruit. Put the lid back on loosely, doesn't need to be tight for now. Make sure nothing gets in there that you don't want. Make sure that honey's stirred all together. And then pour it straight into the bucket. Stir up the remainder of the honey in the jars with the water and pour that into the pan. This is just to get as much of the honey as we can in the finished product. You don't need to get every last little drop, just as much as you can. This should turn out the same as standard mead, maybe a little higher in terms of alcohol, but not much, maybe 7 to 8% ABV. Obviously the added fruit gives it a bit more sugar to ferment, so it's going to be slightly more alcoholic. Once that's all mixed up, put that in the bucket. Get that lid sealed tight and give it a good swirl. Make sure it's all mixed together. It will mix fairly easily. It'll turn a murky red colour. Now I'll open the bucket again and get the yeast. Now on average you want to use about 1 teaspoon per gallon of water. It doesn't have to be exact, just more or less will do fine. And seal the bucket again, make sure it's nice and tight, and give it a good swirl. Get the mead, yeast mixed into the Melomel. As with the standard mead, put it somewhere out of direct sunlight. It doesn't need to be particularly warm. Room temperature will do fine. It will get very active over the next few days and then go quiet, but you need to leave it alone for a minimum of 4 weeks. At the 4-week point, we'll be stabilizing this with potassium sorbate and a Camden tablet. I'll put links to those in the description, as well as a link to the fermentation bucket and the first video in case you haven't watched that. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in part 2. Cheers.